Pine Ridge Farm, it's been a part of my whole entire life because it was my grandparents' farm. So I grew up sharing many special memories here, and when my grandmother became ill, we took care of her. And one morning, she woke up and she took my hand in this very beautiful moment, and she said, "I had a dream that you and Danny bought the farm and had beautiful parties here." So that moment just spoke to my heart. And when I was a little girl, she used to always say, "You're going to be the captain of the Love Boat," which I thought was so funny. So when my husband and I purchased the farm, I'm a physical therapist by trade, and my husband's in computers. But I grew up on a farm, and agriculture is something I'm passionate about, and we really wanted to preserve the history of the farm. So I feel like Pine Ridge Farm has been a really beautiful, faithful journey where we just started making decisions very early on as a married couple of what we wanted to do here and how we were going to reach our goals. So we made decisions to save the history of the barns and the outbuildings, and just on this faithful journey, surrounded by family and friends, we just felt really pushed and encouraged to start a place, because we've always shared our home with anybody and everybody that wanted to be here. So it just became our first friends got married here, and then my dental hygienist, and then 16th birthday parties and 4-H club things, and filming things for our church here, and having some small groups with our friends. It just became this push where we thought we were listening to God's plan. So my husband and I love, so we just get to share that intimacy with the couples, which has been fun. My grandparents purchased the farm in 1949, and there's a picture of the barn when they purchased it, and the barn was old then. It was an old white barn then. So it's so fun. Just random people will be here and just share with me. I had a gentleman here from the community. He said, "I remember in the 1960s when we all brought this silo in and put it up." So I'm I love getting to share that. The things that we offer are this 2-story, historical, restored bank barn, and we've tried to preserve it to its truest form. So we really tried to be authentic in the restoration project, which I think my brides appreciate. They seem to love that, and the guests are walking around looking at how the construction of the barn is put together and the hand-hewed logs, and so we really tried to preserve that sense of history. Mm-hmm. It is a 2-story venue with restrooms to modern day standards. Mm-hmm. It is handicap accessible for your guests. Mm-hmm. It's important to me. I'm a physical therapist, and so that attention to detail there, just making sure your guests are super comfortable in our space. Right. We have our indoor and outdoor ceremony spaces, so if there were to be inclement weather, we have beautiful indoor options. We are very flexible and easy to get along with. We have a parking lot with attendants, and I think the environment is peaceful, and it's something that my husband and I are very passionate about. So this is our child, so we're caring for it, and we're nurturing it, and we don't want to abuse the property. So we're really not trying to be a huge venue. We really want to pay attention to that detail and provide a service to the couples that want to share it with us. We can accommodate up to 200, and I'm finding in the industry that most brides are around 150, 160. Everybody's budget is different, but we can accommodate up to 200. Dan and I were just listening to our brides, and the brides that are coming here, they really want options. And as many wonderful vendors as we've worked with, we have a recommended vendor list. People who resonate with us, we just feel like they provide us service, and that they click really well with the brides and communicate very well. So we do offer a vendor list, and on that vendor list we've got different styles, different price points, depending upon which each bride would like. But if I have a bride come in and she says to me, "My aunt is this incredible baker and my sister's going to do my flowers," then we definitely allow that. Yeah. Right. We just allow the brides to be creative in the space, but we definitely have worked with awesome vendors and can help guide them. We are a little bit different than a lot of venues in that we provide farmhouse tables. Okay. And they're beautiful. They don't require linens, and I think they set the tone for the space to just be either very elegant or just very comfortable. Right. So chairs, tables, antiques, props, whiskey barrels, that's a big favorite, doors, old doors, those are favorites, old chicken baskets, just anything you can imagine. And what we want to do is just provide just ease for the bride and groom and their families, that they can come in and we're not trying to nickel and dime them, and it's like one lump sum for all of it. We're not renting the antiques or renting the tables. Everything is included. We are literally passionate about your event. Right. So we feed love into your event, even though you don't even know us. By the time you leave, it's like family. Yeah. So we are trying to provide a service that you don't even ask for. Mm-hmm. So little things like, I've had a wedding here when it was pouring down rain, and my husband and I and my family provided like an umbrella service, and the guests were blown away. You don't realize it. I think the average brides are picking their venues 15 to 19 months in advance. The first thing is you say yes, and then you start to think about what you and your fiance envision. Yeah. Like, what do you want for that day, and what are your priorities? Mm. And then, I have brides coming in who have a strict budget. I have brides coming in that don't even know their budget. So I think it's a good idea to know what you're looking for, mm-hmm. and know what's going to affect you that day. Mm-hmm. Like, if you are the bride that cannot handle change and cannot be flexible, if a rainstorm is to blow in, then you might need to check yourself before you pick a space that you may not find an indoor ceremony. You know what I mean? So, but I think about what they want to create for their day, mm-hmm. kind of think about their budget, and then go and see the spaces. And I think once you see a space and get to ask the questions that are important to you and your fiance, then you kind of get a sense for where you need to be. First and foremost is remember what it's all about, mm-hmm. just the relationship between you and your husband to be, and the love around that day, mm-hmm. And try not to get stressed on details. Yeah. I've seen couples come through our venue for $12.50 a plate. I've had a couple come through our venue for $180 a plate. Mm. And the point that I say is, you know what you can afford, and you know that no matter what you do, people are going to leave happy, because those are the people that love you irregardless. Yeah. You're surrounding yourself by the people that love you, so try not to get stressed about all the details, right. Because really just the beauty of that day is the intimate details that you and your fiance share with your guests, I think. Absolutely. So just focus on what really matters. Yeah, it goes by in such a... It's here, and then it's gone, and then I think forever you should always reflect through your videos, mm-hmm. or your photos, on the way that you felt that day. Right. And hopefully it wasn't stressed. Right, like my husband and I are coming up on our 20th anniversary, and we still look back and can remember everything about our wedding. Yeah. Even our friend Anthony eating cake out of his pocket. Ooh, that sounds like a fun tradition. So, but I think it's just something that you want to look back on, your whole marriage, and just remember the joy. My ideal bride is somebody who's just passionately in love with the person they're going to walk down the aisle with, and maybe creative. This space allows you to be really creative. If you want to DIY it, we allow, obviously there's a great palette to DIY it. And if you're just not that bride, that's okay too. Mm-hmm. So my ideal bride is just somebody who, I guess, appreciates the space, mm-hmm. and is just in general excited for their day. Yeah. And I've been really lucky. I mean, I've had amazing families here, to the point where I've had this amazing couple come back on their anniversary just to share their anniversary moment here, and I love that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Where do you see it going, I guess, the next 5, 10? Oh, I'm a dreamer. I mean, Pinterest is evil. So I am pleasure and Dan is business, right? So, but I have a lot of exciting things coming. Just some hardscapes, some landscaping things that are going to be happening. Mm-hmm, all outdoors. And so I never stop thinking about where I want to go, but through all that I want to do, I just want to continue to provide a space that's historical, that I don't want to make it feel commercialized. I don't want to abuse the property, and I want to just continue to create a beautiful space outdoors and indoors. So, and I'm always thinking about how we can be better. And I always say to my brides, like, we're not in the business to get rich. We're in the business to provide a service and really just continue to upkeep the farm and preserve the history. So things that are coming in are going right back in to the space. But I'll tell you the other thing is I have 3 children, and I grew up working on a farm with my family. So when Dan and I started to step into this journey, our kids are very important to us, and family is so important to us. So I can see my children just really turning on to different things. Chase is my entertainer, and Sarah pays attention to the floral designs. Like, she's really, really enjoying watching the florals, and Sydney is just business. You know, she's really helpful. So it's cool for Dan and I to sit back and see our children loving it. They're learning our work ethic. You know, they know that it takes a lot of work, and they're sharing their space. But it would be a beautiful thing to see it just continue through them when we age. It'd be amazing. They'll probably run away to a mountaintop or something, I don't know. Right. I would just encourage you to go see it, because I think that being here is very different than looking at pictures on social media. I love to see people share one of the most important days of their life at our home is joyful.